Okay, in this second video, we are going to start by first looking at the right answer to these two questions in this specific scenario to you, and then we can move forward and in the review of the project management principles. So the first thing to do was to for sure calculate the slope for each of these activities. So crashing information for each activity A, B, C to H. Okay, and first to come up with a priority task. Okay, here, and then for the second question, considering that you have a critical path, and that within this critical path, how is it that the priority in terms of crashing that you defined previously is going to change as a result of having the A, C, D, F, and H as your critical path. We can further discuss this during our interactions in the live our live virtual class. Now let's talk more about how to create a budget. So a budget is the financial action plan for your project. So creating budget is something you absolutely do during this first conceptualization and build up phase of the project management process. Okay, and then you have to also recognize that you will probably have to readjust that budget during the implementation phase if any kind of circumstance or conditions of the project or whatever might change. Budget translates the project plan into measurable spendings and anticipated returns, okay, over this certain period of time. And very often, your success as a project leader might absolutely be evaluated and assessed as a function of the way you managed your budget. Okay. So creating a budget is, so what kind of cost categories might be involved in project? Personnel, so HR, human resources, for sure. Travel, if your team has to travel during the project from one site to another or to meet with the customer or with suppliers, this has to be integrated into your first plan, into your initial plan. Training, if training is required for your staff in order to deal with specific skills, this has to be integrated. Kind of supplies you need, whatever supplies you need in order to complete your project, or even some kind of assets, equipment, space. So if some people may have to be relocated in other facilities, so you need facilities to run your project, this has to be integrated. Research, sometimes projects require very clear research activities and outcome. So in some cases, project leaders have analysts that internally take over these tasks, and sometimes you have to go in and buy these research papers and documents from outside organizations, and you have to integrate the cost of that, definitely. Professional services, any kind of consultants or legal advisors, this has to be integrated, and capital expenditures, which are about what I told you just earlier about the assets you might need, so capital expenditures for your project. And very often, there are some types of costs that are overlooked, forgotten. And these are about the training cost after the project is completed and the product was delivered to customers. Now you have to train users to implement the project and to help them use the product. So this is very often forgotten. Then we have this ongoing personnel and maintenance costs once the project is over. Then you have the insurance or licensing fees that might be also that represent the cost. Without telling you that if you are to use softwares that are costly, you have to integrate that cost also into your budget plan. Costs for also outside support, such as accounting or legal advisor. Okay. What is it that we call a contingency fund? You naturally know that over the period of the the project, you might face bad surprises, or maybe in your initial plan you overlooked some costs, or you forgot about some costs. That is why usually we have to plan for a kind of safety margin when we plan costs, and this is called the contingency fund. And this is about 5% of the estimated project budget that is planned and usually accepted by finance departments. Okay, and so all of these estimates, as we said during conceptualization, are critical, because the project sponsor, or if you have one, or at the end the top management, would take a closer look at the timing, resources, skills, and the budget for a given project, and might definitely be willing to withdraw from that project. Okay, so projects that are not fully funded stand little chance of succeeding. Okay, so that is very important that you come up with very clear estimates and valid estimates of various aspects of your project in terms of resources, time, and budget. Okay, so that is the end of our chapter 1. Thank you for your attention. Bye.